Get a Job in Tech, episode 299. How to set boundaries in the work environment. The people-pleasing loop. If you're a people pleaser at work, this can't be good for you. You're seeking approval of your leadership for anything, for the littlest thing possible. And you're willing to go the extra mile, essentially. Meaning you're working more hours than you need to be working. And especially if you have a team around you that can also do the work, don't be a people pleaser at work. If you want to know what it is, just Google what a people pleaser is. The resentment cycle. The resentment cycle falls in line with people pleaser. And it's basically you're at work and you're doing your job and you feel, I'm doing a great job, I'm doing all this stuff. You're not looking at other individuals. You're not saying to yourself, I wish they would do more work. You don't say that. What you say is, I'm doing this work. I don't mind doing the work. I'm people pleasing. And what happens is if you don't get the recognition, then you feel kind of resentment a little bit. For example, you're working extra hours or you're working on some project or something and you don't get any feedback, you could have resentment about it. And especially if you see the other individuals, maybe you have a team of 30, 40 people. And if you feel you're pulling your weight, because again, you're a people pleaser, then there could be some resentment in that as well. The other one is the over explanation pattern. This falls in line with some of the people pleaser, basically. The wanting to over explain everything, so detailed, rather than just let the individual just give them a brief example and then go. Let them figure it out, basically. I think it has something to do with trust. You don't want to over explain things, especially if it's a simple concept. The avoidance game. This would be something like you're in a job environment and you're avoiding uncomfortable conversations. And for instance, you need someone to do something. And you know it's their role. You know they're the individuals who does this. So what do? You reach out to them. This is the action I would like to. This is the action. Would you mind taking care of it? And if they push back, and they do it, they have time to do it, and it's not outside of scope, and it's within the hours of work, basically, and you know that they do it. But what happens is sometimes they push back and say, I'm not doing that. Well, these are kind of uncomfortable. These could be uncomfortable conversations. It's easier if you work from home because you don't have to really talk to an individual. Whereas if you work in the office, you do. The next one is the perfectionist trap. And accept conflict as normal. Allow others their reactions. Focus on progress, not perfection. The perfectionist might be an individual who, if they don't know how to do something at work even, they don't even start. They won't even start to do it. And again, if there's like a team of people, then they're just in the background and let other individuals take care of it, whatever it is, because they don't want to fail. They don't want to feel like I don't know what I'm doing. A perfectionist, basically. The next one is a control myth. Definitely, you see this sometimes in leadership where you have the company says it's fine for you to work from home. There's a policy, work from home. However, anytime there's an issue, the leadership wants to call you into work. Okay, I need you in the office. Well, I could just take care of from home. You don't say that, but that's what you're thinking. For some reason, some leadership, I don't call them leaders, but some managers still want you to be in the office. They still want that. And it's more than that. It's a feeling of other things as well. And this is mostly some individual gets in a leadership position. This is where the control comes into. And so much so, controlling your troubleshooting, controlling your hours worked, maybe even talking about not calling you out, but in a team of 30 people, they say something like, I want more engagement, I want more, when there's an issue, I want everybody to come in to office, and that's just not realistic. Okay, that's some control individuals in the work environment. The next one is the fear factor. The fear factor definitely is in companies. Well, what do I mean by that? If you're unsure, and this kind of falls in line with all we're talking here. If you're unsure of your job, you're unsure of what you do, or you don't know you don't understand your role there. Why do you get paid? If you don't understand that, definitely in your own mind, you could easily start to doubt yourself and create a small semblance of, I don't know if I'm capable of this job. I don't want to get let go. I don't want to be laid off from this company. And that's a bit of a fear in your mind, basically. And how you can get over that is start with small steps. Start with small accomplishments at work. Get the confidence up, because you're trying to build your confidence gradually, and then celebrate the things that you do. Little small wins, basically. Little small wins. Yeah, I did it great. The next one is the communication gap, basically. For example, this is very key in emails. When you send an email, and it's something you need done, for example, and you're the individual who can ask for things done. I need this done, whatever it is. And you're just, okay, this is what I see, I need this done, right? And the other side, the other recipient, is the one performing the action. And too many times you see emails respond, okay, or yeah, sure, or just a quick little response. Be very clearly identify what you need. In a couple of days, next week, etc., I need this done. I need you, would you mind doing this at this location? And these are the hours I'd like you to do it. Done. Very clear, very precise, not just generic. And every time you reply to the email, put in that same verbiage until the action's been taken. Real simple. Real simple. You're having a vendor and they need to change they need to replace a failed hard drive, for example. Be very clear about it. The first email you send, here's what I see. This is what's wrong with it. These are the dates. Please, do you have time to change the hard drive in these dates? And great. And then every time you email them, put the same thing, dates, time, not just, okay, are you good? Are you good for Monday? What is that? What does that mean? Are you good for Monday? That's a very vague statement. Very vague statement. You want to say, are we still, per our last conversation, per our last email, is it my understanding that we are good? Or my understanding that Monday is a good time for you to replace the failed hard drive on X, whatever the server is, or whatever device. It could be a storage device, for that matter, at this location. Be very direct with them. Be very clear, direct, use specific examples. And if you're talking to someone, and pause a bit when you talk to them, you don't want to get worked up or whatever, right? Just calm down, take a couple deep breaths through your nose, and just quietly answer the question. And it's a nice flow of the conversation. That way you get kind of time to think about what you're trying to say. You're not just back and forth in the conversation. That's a one-way conversation, meaning I talk, you talk, I talk, you talk. But if you pause and just calmly ask them, are you able to do this on Monday? Are you able to change the hard drive and this server at this location on Monday? Wait for them to respond. And then there you go. Some of these are good examples. And going back to the people pleaser one, if you're doing that, and you're in IT, of course you're in IT, you probably see that trait more in programmers than you would anything else, because programmers are under tremendous stress. Some of them, you got to figure they're looking at code. Some of them are looking at code. Some of them don't really know. Some of them have to Google a lot of stuff that they have to figure out, and they're kind of unsure. And some leadership don't necessarily give them correct feedback and say, here's where I see your role, and you're in this, you're going down the right path, or maybe make some adjustments. They don't have those things in some companies. Some FANG companies, they do. They're very good about that. And that's why you work there till 8 p.m. at night in some cases. And you look for your weekends off. And you live in Sacramento and you take the BART into work and you get on the Google bus or the Facebook bus and go into work. And then you breakfast, lunch, and dinner in some cases at the same office. And then you're done. You go back home and rinse and repeat for 5 days, and then you can't wait for the weekend to happen. And and then you're there for 3 or 4 years because you want to invest. You got to invest that's the stock so you have some return, and then you hop around to different companies, and then after a while you move to another lower cost location and get some tech job because you've banked a bunch of money working in the FANG companies. All right, thanks a lot. We'll see you in the next one.